This was a huge upgrade from Volume 14. This volume I enjoyed leagues above Volume 14. Now, if you watch my Volume 14 review, you will know that I kind of was iffy on it. I still enjoyed it, but I felt like it was a big degrade in quality from Volume 13 and Volume 12, which is, it's understandable. Volume 13 is just greatness. But this Volume 15, this volume of Berserk, has definitely brought the fucking quality level back up to where I want it to be. The progression of plot, the character development, the characterization, the action, the artwork is always great, but all of it is back to that level that was created throughout the Golden Age arc. The Lost Children chapter in the Conviction arc has moved a lot in this volume. We've gotten the backstory on Jill. We've gotten the backstory on the actual antagonist in this arc, which is the Elf Queen, who she was before she was an apostle, which is a girl named Rosaline who was best friends with Jill. And we get to learn about why she decided to make the wish to the God Hand to become an apostle. And that's because of, one, a fairy tale that was rumored throughout her entire village that involved a elven-looking child named Red-Eyed Peacock. And I'm going to talk about that right now. Basically, there's a fairy tale where this kid was always picked on by other kids because of his abnormal look, because he looked like sort of an elf. So he decided to go into Misty Valley one day and go to his true people, his true parents. And they laugh at him and basically say, "You're not one of us, you don't have wings." And then they tell him a story about his parents that brought him as a baby and said, "Please heal our child, heal our child." And they use magic, and the repercussions of that magic of healing Peacock was he got red eyes and elven ears. And after Peacock realized exactly what was going on and why, like, the mistake he made, he ran back to his family in the village. But unbeknownst to him, that little amount of time he spent in the village, 100 years passed in the village. The little bit amount of time he spent in the forest, 100 years passed in the village. And he cried and cried and cried. And Rosaline always believed that there was a misinterpretation of the fairy tale, that Peacock actually found his family that day in Misty Valley, that he was accepted by the elves. And we find Rosaline wants to go do this as well. She feels that she's Red-Eyed Peacock because her parents always fight every night, day in and day out, and it's always about her, and she always gets beaten up, and she does not trust adults. So one night she leaves all her treasures behind to Jill and goes off into the Misty Valley, and we found out that one of her treasures that she would pick up, like, you know, little boys would, like seashells and rocks, was actually one of the Baylets that we've seen Griffith have before, and that Guts has as well right now. And obviously, the reader can put two and two together. A few days later, her parents disappeared, so she obviously sacrificed her parents to gain that power, to become an elf. And these little elven little insects that she has with her are children from these villages. Because she likes children, she hates adults. That's why she kills adults, and she turns these children into elves. And that's why these children go missing from the villages. So I thought that was a very necessary thing to see, to learn about the Apostle's past, her relationship with Jill, and her outlook and views on the world in general, and what drove her to become an apostle and make that wish and sacrifice her fucking parents. We see that there's cocoons in Misty Valley that the children get put into, and they get bred into new little, you know, elven insects. And Guts obviously destroys all of them, but not without going through a hardcore battle with adults that were turned into insects as well. We see the bandits from Volume 14, they were turned into insects, and Guts annihilates them. But there's two knights that he has a hard time with, and one gets turned into a mantis, and one turns into a rhinoceros beetle. And that battle was absolutely incredible. Guts uses his brain rather than his pure rage and strength to take out these two creatures. He shoots with his gun cannon at the one and uses the force to swing his sword to kill the other one, since they were on both sides of him, in the front and the back. Absolutely incredible. And in the midst of all this, before this battle even took place, Puck and Guts ended up having a fight, and Puck left. But I'm thinking to myself, how is Guts going to survive this little battle? He's bleeding out. Well, Puck left some fairy dust in Guts's bag, and that helps him, which allows him to get to Misty Valley and kill these cocoons and start waging war on this Elf Queen Apostle. Um, Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. We also actually get to see that there are real elves in Misty Valley, because when Puck gets there, he and the Elf Queen returns. All these elves come out of this cedar tree and flee. They flee at the sight and sound of the Elf Queen coming, because they're most likely scared of her and they can't fight against her. So I have a feeling these elves are going to play a role in the battle between Guts and the Elf Queen Apostle. Maybe they'll heal him with their fairy dust as he's fighting the Elf Queen. Maybe they'll come to his aid and fight against these these fake little elves. She offers Jill to become an elf, and Jill was very tempted to do so, but then she's seen the little elves, the little insect elves, playing war. Playing war. They weren't playing. They were actually killing each other. Everything seemed peaceful. Everything seemed calm. They're in the Misty Valley. They're having fun. But then they start actually butchering each other, playing real war. And the elves that died turned back into the human children that they were beforehand. And we've seen this earlier in the volume when Guts set fire to the horse stable. The children's corpses were burning alive. And this actually plays a role on Guts' psyche in this volume. When he leaves the village and he's sitting there near the fire, a little demon shows up, and I'm assuming that was his child, because it showed himself before in earlier volumes, before the Golden Age arc. And he says to it, "You brought these children with me. What, do you want me to babysit?" And these children that come, that are all set ablaze, are the children that he killed in that horse stable fire. And they're coming to feed on Guts. So he has to fight them. And we see him see images of these burning children corpses in this horse stable a few times in this volume. So even though Guts seems to be such a bad guy, the things that he does, that he has to do to survive, and he has to do to kill these creatures of the darkness, they have repercussions. They weigh down on his consciousness. He knows he had to kill these little insect elves, and he knows they were human children at some point, and he feels bad that, you know, he had to kill them, but he knows he had to do it either way. And finally, I want to talk about Farnese and the Holy Iron Chain Knights. And we learn a little bit about why they're chasing Guts. They have reports that these gruesome sightings and these gruesome incidents with these creatures of the darkness have been happening throughout the last 2 or 3 years, ever since the Golden Age arc, ever since the eclipse. And every time eyewitnesses say there's been a sighting of a black swordsman. So this is why they are chasing down the black swordsman, and they were charged in doing so, because they want to find out what his relation is to these gruesome scenes. Is he the one doing all of this? Is he part of their religion somehow? What is his deal? And I really liked seeing more of Farnese, because we've seen a little bit of her in Volume 14, but we really didn't get to see her reasoning for going after Guts, and the reasoning for this whole campaign to chase him down. So that was really neat to see. Now, I have a feeling she's going to eventually get Guts in her grasp and probably bring him back to Midland, which is not good, considering Midland is ran by that king who hates Griffith and hates Guts and hates the Band of the Hawk. But maybe something will go down where she'll realize that Guts isn't really that bad of a guy, and that he was branded with this brand of sacrifice, and he has no control over these dark creatures coming after him. Maybe it will weigh down her psyche. Maybe something crazy will happen to her where she'll decide to become allies with Farnese. With Guts, I mean. Maybe she'll go through some crazy traumatic experience with these creatures of darkness, and she'll join Guts. That would be absolutely awesome. Or maybe she'll continue to go after Guts and want to kill him because she knows he is the source of these dark creatures coming and doing these crazy, gruesome killings. So there's a lot of setup in this chapter, but there's also a lot of plot progression, a lot of character development for the character Rosaline, who is now the Elf Queen Apostle. We have the setup of seeing these elves actually do live in Misty Valley, and the fact that the Red-Eyed Peacock fairy tale is more than likely a true story. So I really did enjoy this volume a lot more than Volume 14. I won't say it's on the same level as Volume 12 and 13, simply because that was the climax and that was the finale of the Golden Age arc. But this is definitely keeping my hopes up that this series is going to continue with the greatness and continue with the level of quality that I've come to expect from it. Let me know your thoughts on the volume, guys. Let me know your thoughts on my video. As always, leave me a like if you feel I deserve it. That would be awesome. Also, subscribe to this channel for more content, Berserk, and other things as well. Hunter x Hunter JoJo's. Share the video as well, guys. Get this out to as many people as possible. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying my Berserk volume reviews. Leave some comments below. Let's talk about this, because this series deserves to be discussed by like-minded individuals. Thanks for watching my review, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.